Well, welcome to this week's podcast of Footy, Life and Property with Rob, Rach and Millie, who's running around the bottom of her feet. Hope everyone has had an absolutely awesome week. I know there's a lot of football sides out there that are still celebrating after the last weekend, Rach. What a lot of upsets.
Oh, a bit of a cracker, actually. I can't believe that West Tigers actually, not that they won a game, but they absolutely thumped their opposition.
No surprise to me.
Yeah, but, you're like, that's just due.
3 out of the last 4.
Yeah, they're on
They're on a roll.
They're on a roll. Yeah.
And St George, last 30 seconds, got up.
I know. Reminiscent of when Mark Coyne scored that try in the State of Origin and broke all the New South Wales hearts.
I think that's the only part of State of Origin you ever remember.
It is, actually.
Canterbury had a win.
I'm not a fan of State of Origin.
Canterbury had a win.
They did have a win, had a good win, good solid win. Parramatta.
Flogged South.
Upset South. That wasn't meant to happen either.
Yeah.
So, good week in football.
Actually, I think there's a good lesson for everyone there. All those sides, with the exception of Parramatta, actually they've copped a bit, have been getting absolutely trashed by the press. They've been given a hard time by a lot of people because their results haven't been that good. But they've all stayed true. They've all believed in themselves. And as soon as the opportunities come, they've absolutely nailed it, backed themselves and won.
I do think, though, that the media hasn't been fair on their criticism. West have copped in, week out.
Mm-hmm.
St George copped it week in, week out. Parramatta haven't been running that hot as well and seem to be given a free ride. Canberra cop it, but nowhere near the level that St George and West do. Happen to be our teams, full disclosure, but have copped it.
I mean, let's name and shame them. Fox Sports have been the worst.
Oh, they're disgusting.
And they've been called out this week because they've had their own incident and ignored it, which I think is completely hypocritical.
Hidden it, threw it under the rug. Let's brush into the corner and don't forget about it. Old Kenty.
But if someone else in another football team or an official that had happened to, they would have had a special on it.
Oh, he wouldn't have shut up about it. He'd still be banging on about it.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. You got to treat everyone the same. And Fox Sports have been caught out in this one. Hopefully they might change the way they look at things now.
Oh, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, and that's why we no longer have Foxtel. Even if I had Foxtel, I wouldn't watch it. It hasn't been the same since Ben Ikin left, to be quite honest.
Very true.
They should never have picked Anasta to be the host.
Yeah.
He's shocking. He hates West Tigers. Openly, him and Kenty together are foul.
Yeah, they are foul. They're very foul. But then again, it has been awesome.
This is not to be a tirade on NRL 360, a show that we won't ever watch again.
No.
We'll move on.
We will move on.
Great weekend of football.
It has been a great weekend of football. It's we're coming into State of Origin time. They've picked their sides in the last 24 hours. There's been a few shocks. But we all know it doesn't matter who they pick. They're both incredibly capable sides, both capable of winning. And it's just going to be amazing to see how this goes out. First game in South Australia. Personally, I don't know why we've gone there. I'll put it out there. We're never going to have a team there again. We're never going to grow the game there. I would rather them go to Perth where they've got a good competition over there. They follow rugby. They follow league over there. If you're going to take it away from New South Wales and Queensland, let's either go to Perth or let's either go to New Zealand and play it because they're the areas that we're growing in. To me, going to South Australia is a waste of money and resources. Just my opinion. You can agree to disagree. I don't care.
I think the dollar was right. That's what it came down to. Who was going to pay the most money to get that first game of Origin? This game is now up for sale. It's not about where it suits the fans. It's dollars and it's dollar driven. And it's been proven in the last 18 months that's where this game is headed, unfortunately.
Now, they've also talked about expansion in the last few weeks, again, for another side. Some people have said Papua New Guinea. Some people have said New Zealand. Some people have said Perth. Where would you want to go?
Myself, I think there should be a team in mid-north Queensland. I think they should be looking around Mackay, Rockhampton potentially for another Queensland team. I grew up in North Queensland and there was only one game and it was rugby league. It was played in every small town, great competitions. If the kid didn't play league, they played either hockey or another sport, but league was a dominant game in our town, particularly where I grew up in Moranbah in North Queensland. Everybody went to the games. When we had a home game, the Moranbah Sharks, everybody went. The ground was packed. It was for community. It's very similar here where we live in southwest Sydney. It's very well supported on the ground by people who don't even follow the teams. Their grounds are full. So I actually think that the league really seriously needs to be looking at either Rockhampton or Mackay. It's another great junior base. Yeah, I would be looking at Perth or...
So that's why I disagree. I think Perth is the place to go.
No.
Because they don't have a rugby league team.
It's an AFL town.
It's a massive rugby town.
Yeah, well, but it's not football.
It's got the corporate backing.
It's not league.
Yeah, well, I think Perth.
No, well...
That's just me.
Well,
I think
going to agree to disagree.
Yeah, that's
League
cool.
and Union are two separate teams, two separate games completely. Yep. One's very technical. One's just, it's... I don't believe that Perth is a league. It was proven in the Super League. It's not a league team town at all. Well, anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to talk about property because otherwise we're going to be here for all night.
We will.
Yeah, and we want to talk about downsizing.
We are. Yes. I actually was speaking to potential clients this week, and they've got a huge property, massive home, couple of acres, and they've said all the kids have left, and they're on this huge property with this big house, and they're seriously looking at downsizing. And they're tossing up, is it worth it? Should we downsize? Shouldn't we downsize? What are we going to look for? And I know you've got some strong thoughts on this. And I said, look, if you're going to do it, you're still healthy, you're still working. I believe they should do it now and then get a high quality property, sell now, go down, still have everything they want, but just in a smaller property on a smaller block of land. What do you think?
Yeah, it should definitely. Well, take us for consideration. We live in a 5-bedroom house for 2 people.
And a dog and a cat.
And a dog and a cat now. So I just think the house is way too big for us, so we will eventually have to downsize. So when you are looking to potentially downsize, you need to look at where you want to live to start with, what the market is like in that area, and will it suit your lifestyle? As you get older, is that where you want to see yourself in your retirement? And if that's the case, when you've done it at work, then you need to come home and go, I need to declutter. I need to do this, because us as buyer's agents, I haven't done any of that. Full disclaimer, full disclosure.
Hey.
I've done none of that. But if we were seriously looking at doing it, then we would seriously have to look at decluttering and depersonalising our house. Because when you do have a potential buyer coming through your home, I don't want to see your knickknacks. I don't want to see all your family photos all over the dining room wall. I don't want to see, your doilies everywhere, or, old Jenny's crystal vase she gave you when you were 10. Like, that stuff needs to go.
Oh, look, 100%. And it's one of the services we actually offer. I'm going to my second house this weekend. We don't sell homes, we buy homes. But people are actually getting me to come in and look at it from a buyer's agent's point of view. Because let's be honest, when I go into a home to buy it, I'm looking for everything potentially I can to bring that price down. So they've asked me to come in and look at their home through the eyes of a buyer's agent. Now, that doesn't mean telling them to spend a lot of money, but there's a lot of tips and a lot of tricks you can do to make your house look absolutely brilliant and get the most money for your house. And that's so important. People fail all the time. They clean their house up and they look at it through their eyes. They're not buying it. They've already bought it. They've got to look at it through someone who's going to walk through that front door. What's going to invite me to buy this house?
But it's not just that though, Rob. We go in with fresh eyes and we can see where there's a dark room. If they potentially change the drapes or change the window coverings or put a skylight, spend the money and put skylight in, the difference it makes to a home, to the overall ambience of the home, and even just giving it a fresh coat of paint.
Oh, look, 100%. I mean, I worked with one couple a couple of months ago. They've got a 10-month plan because they've got 10 months worth of stuff they've got to get rid of, let's be honest. But every week they do a little bit at a time. And so it's not this big emotional catch. It is, I'm going to do this room, I'm going to start to declutter. a little bit at a time, and they're making a massive change to their house. So by the time they go to sell, they're going to have the painting done, as you said, in maybe one room with the wrong colour wall. They're going to have things fixed. They're going to have those little things that are going to matter. So when someone walks into their home, I know this couple, they will sell this house at auction straight up.
Yeah.
If they've listened to me, and I know I've spoken to them, they are. And I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. So this week on our social media pages, on our Instagram and Facebook, we've actually done a series of posts with regards to downsizing. Is it the right time to downsize? And then we've given you some tips on what to actually do when you are downsizing. So we just want to talk a bit about life before we hop off here.
Yep.
And
what are we talking about life this week?
Oh, it's probably just talk because we missed our post last week. We had a pretty rough 2 weeks. So we're still both recovering from this shocking cold, and unfortunately, the last 2 weeks we lost our beautiful Coco, who was with us for 14 years, our British short-haired cat. So she crossed the Rainbow Bridge and has gone home. And
her sister's still here.
Yeah, we've got beautiful Bella still with us, but our darling Coco's gone. So we're like all good,
good pets.
Yeah, pets. We've had her cremated. Pets at Peace, who are fantastic, picked her up and brought her home. So she's now home with us, and we're adjusting to not having her around. So
I mean, because people forget, some people just say it's just a dog, it's just a cat. But when they're in your house for so long, they are actually part of your family. And people treat them as part of your family, and those cats and our dog are all part of our family. They're like everyone else that lives in this house and moves through.
They're my favourite children.
Oh, well, Daniel and Emily, I hope you're not watching the podcast.
They are my favourite children.
What about your grandchildren?
They're my children. They're my grandchildren. That's different.
Oh, okay. That's different. Okay.
Yeah, that's different. They're extra special.
Yes, well, that's true. We haven't had that many big adventures with the grandchildren the last 2 weeks.
No, but we will that day because Miss Hazel turns 4. So
yes.
We're looking forward to that.
Yes, a big 4th birthday. I don't know how that's going to turn out. We might walk to the club on that one.
I think so. Well, good. All right, well, we're going to go.
Yep.
And we will catch you all next week.
We will. Take care. Peace out.
Ciao.